Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated. The first foothold of Insular Christianity has been established on the island of Ireland. We're seeing Chalcedonian Christianity spread, and very few members of our court have followed suit in joining us. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to try and convert a number of people here in the court to Insular Christianity. Lennon, who joined us at the end of the last episode when we converted, I'm going to make him my physician. He's got quite good skills. And I don't know what we're going to do with this lad over here. Alil isn't in a position to challenge us for a while. It's entirely possible with these negative stats, so let's say short reign, at peace, and declared war, they're going to decrease over time. So it's entirely possible that we could actually get him into a positive opinion without needing to sway him. So I might actually bring that scheme to an end and use it to sway people in the court if necessary. Now, we are one county away from forming the Kingdom of Ireland, but what I'm going to start with is we need to get some money together. And another thing that we can do now that we have converted to Insular Christianity is appoint missionaries. So Conmol, I have appointed him as the head missionary. I'm not too sure if I can actually do anything additional with him, if we can send him out or anything like that. Goes on missions to convert other peoples and rulers to your faith. Head missionaries also have a higher chance of successfully converting targets, so we might very well see about doing that at some stage, but we have a couple of other missionary slots that we can fill as well. So here will sit the first servants of St. Patrick. In the decisions tab, we have send missionaries. There are many out there who do not believe in our insular faith. I should send missionaries to find any unbelievers in foreign lands, be they nobles or common people, and convert them to the one true faith. So our missionaries will travel to a foreign land and attempt to convert its ruler or people to convert to the insular faith. Missionary work requires an investment of gold. The more funds you provide your missionaries, the better their chances are at succeeding. Well, it's a good thing that we're raising our troops to go on some raids into Scotland. May God guide us. To prove that I am a devout insularist, I intend to use the resources at my disposal to gather a number of faithful missionaries to spread the truth across the world. With my backing and the protection of God, these brave souls will surely bring the light of insularism to foreign lands. Oh God, what have we done? These missions require significant resources to ensure their success, but I must be careful when investing in the endeavour. There is always a chance that our missionaries will be unsuccessful, whether due to a lack of true faith and conviction, or because the unbelievers are too stubborn, or because we didn't give them enough money. So a small sum will do. For 100, a large sum will help us find a receptive, high-ranking noble, and 500 for whatever it does to convince a ruler. So 30% chance that the missionaries will only be able to attempt to convert a group of peasants. Do you know what? Let's not aim too big for our first day out. We haven't even managed to convince anyone in our own court to adopt insular Christianity. We'll just go. Do you know what? We'll be happy if anyone shows up. And while we're here, we'll take the decision to consecrate a holy well in honor of our conversion to insular Christianity and in honor of the first mission that is going forth to spread the word of insularism to whatever poor people our missionaries set their sights on. Sacred springs and holy wells play an important role in Gaelic folklore, and though there are many such sites scattered around my lands, I wish to consecrate one near my capital and elevate its importance in the eyes of faithful insularists everywhere. There is a story of Sweeney, and Sweeney goes into battle, or he insults some monks, I'm not too sure, but they curse him with madness, and he basically goes up into the trees. He's known as Mad Sweeney in the Trees. He's kind of the basis of one of the various tales in Flann O'Brien's At Swim Two Birds, and he travels around Ireland, There's various different versions of the story, but basically he gets to the southwest of the country, to Glennagalt, the Valley of the Mad, and there is a well there that he drinks from, and it cures his madness. And for hundreds of years, people used to go to this well if they were suffering from madness, in air quotes. And there was some studies done on it in the last couple of years, and the water in the well has an above normal level of lithium, which I believe is used in the treatment of schizophrenia. So that's it's not really a holy well, but it's kind of one of these. It's kind of a holy well. Holy wells in Ireland fall into a really weird kind of cross-section of being holy wells and just pure folklore. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to consecrate a well in Meath. Locate a suitable holy well. 150 prestige and 50 gold. We're spending a lot of gold. So for as long as anyone can remember, sacred springs and holy wells have played an important role in the folklore. Under my direction, Insularism, or Insular Priors, have located a holy well in Tara, venerated locally, that deserves more recognition as a site of veneration and prayer. After we performed various ceremonies to consecrate the holy well, word is spreading fast that around the region about its purported spiritual and healing properties. There is no doubt that this holy well will become an important focal point of local insular religious activity for many years. Great to hear! So Tara gains major holy well recently consecrated for 20 years. You and future rulers of Tara will now be able to take a decision to visit a holy well for as long as the county has this modifier. So holding taxes go up 4%, growth control up 0.2, and popular opinion up 4. So for all the authority that I supposedly wield as High Chieftain, I cannot be everywhere in the realm at once. We could potentially appoint a right hand, and that position is Lenon Mock Gillifuelon, who joined us at the end of the last episode. I didn't realize he'd gone in as a champion, as well as his 25 learning. He has 10 prowess, so absolutely he will serve as my right hand for increased control growth. Conal is shoving on in years, up to 56 years of age, but I will appoint him as the head of the army, and we're going to march across into the holdings of Man. And I think we're going to wander around in this region for a while. I could split the army in half, but there's a couple of 800 strong forces around here, so I think we'll leave them together. Our son has had a daughter, Kintigern. Let's see now that we have... What are some good insular names? Juliana, Constance, Caitlin, or Caitlin. May you grow to be strong and wise. So we have a successful siege there. I don't think there's going to be much to stop us unless we split our armies, but we'll head for the Isle of Man, and then we'll wander back into this region. We might shove down this way. I think this region might be a bit more profitable if we can hit some major settlements. So I am still trying to sway Alil, and he's not very happy with us, but we're passing through Ivonia, the capital of his lands, and we receive an invitation to his castle. I could lose some stress, and how am I doing for stress at the moment? Do you know what? I'm not going to stay for a while. Just show me to my rooms. Here is the Romano-Britain, or the Britanno-Roman Duchy of Diva Victrix. There is Manconium. And what must they be thinking? Seeing a Christian raiding force coming against them. This is probably not what they expected coming from Ireland. Ooh, and we've become a prisoner in our own body. We are shoving up in years. We're 57. We've captured somebody's son. He's an heir to somewhere. And we have gained the trait Infirm. We might be stepping down. We might be stepping down from command of the army. So it looks like our champion, Doved. It looks like our champion, Doved, is going to be taken over. So like I said there earlier on, there was a kind of a tradition of healing with these holy wells, and this is actually very well thought out. Here is a modifier: healing waters of a holy well, disease resistance. Stress gain goes down 10%, stress loss goes up 10%, and there's a small health boost. So I think now that he is shoving on in years, and maybe to pay homage for the conquests and for the amount of money that we're picking up, Conal is going to visit the holy well, which he consecrated, or had consecrated, only recently. For as long as anyone can remember, sacred springs and holy wells, etc., etc. Once I arrive at the site, though it is relatively small, it is serene and humbling. I feel a sense of spiritual and physical peace that I haven't felt in a while. I pray to God in the insular manner, the vastly superior insular manner, and leave offerings before I depart. It was a wonderful experience, and we have a 35% chance to gain the healing waters. We gain 100 piety, lose 17 stress. And did we gain something? We have attentive care. We have healing waters of a holy well. So our nephew, fair play to him, we lost Oriel. Well, he lost Oriel. But he's sending us some money. That is very nice. We could reject his charity. Effects on the High Chieftain. He will lose stress because he's generous. Do you know what? Grand out. If you want to lose stress by giving us money, I won't argue. The region that we're involved in down here has risen its forces, but it's not actually coming in our direction. We're going heading for its capital, and we have gained a lifestyle perk. I think we were going to go for Stalworth Leader and move down in that direction. We could start increasing dread, and we're not going to see the overseer trait. We're not going to get to there. I think we'll go down the Gallant tree. That's the kind of the default one for military raiding figures at this point in time. And this is possibly a ransom. It is indeed. So the Earl, whose lands we're currently tearing through, is going to give us 50 quid. That's going to pay for that visit to the Holy Well. Oh, devil. The insular world. This is it. The insular world was shocked to learn that my Bishop Conmol was discovered gorging himself on a luxurious feast of veal cutlets, sturgeon, caviar, intraments, and spiced wines. The excessive indulgence of the feast has cast a dark shadow on his legitimacy. While scandals among the clergy are nothing new, this is brand new. It is disquieting for one to occur so close to home. Condemn him for his transgressions. He will stop endorsing us. Defend his character publicly. Maybe I should stay silent. Oh, because we're brave, we would gain stress. We're going to condemn him for his transgressions. The devil. We're known for our dedication to faith, just as he stops endorsing us, if I am correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that scheme to start swaying him instead. He is actually still endorsing me, but only just barely. So we'll sway him and try and build some good relations with him, especially if he's going to be a devil and go off doing things like that again in future. Right, so somebody's come into us with a big long knife. The Deer of Unlongfort. So this is, of course, a reference to a Viking settlement around here-ish, which won't be built for another couple of 100 years. My nephew, Doi, known for his interest in venery, brings rumour of beasts spotted in my realm. I've never heard of this before. I don't know if this is an Irish name or not. I am hearing much talk from Breffni. It is said that there are excellent prospects for hunting, with many a worthy stag seen roaming about the wetlands. Interesting. So, game sighting for 3 years, which will impact the hunt success chance if we hold one there. That's very interesting. So this is feeding into the new kind of tours and tournaments DLC. I have heard people saying, I think it was one proud Bavarian that was saying that there is so much in the tours and tournaments now that it kind of distracts you from... Before it was pretty much just conquer everything around you. Whereas now the tours and tournaments actually provide so much that instead of conquering, you want to do the tours and tournaments. So this is really cool. It's something that's feeding into and encouraging us to go on another hunt instead of just waiting to be stressed out and only doing hunts either to get a bit of prestige or to get a bit of stress release. So there you go. Interesting. We're busy at the moment sieging some places down. I think our armies have lost just short of 100 people. We almost collided with an army there that we're hostile with. We're not exactly attacking. Let's see if we can raid this place. We might as well while we're here. So we're basically heading back home. Somebody's coming in against us with 261 troops. Maybe not a great idea. We could have probably moved before then. And we'll continue up in this direction. Do you know what? We'll hit here as well. We'll hit here and then we'll head back home. Now, he hates us, but fair play to him, he has invited us to his grand tournament. To my liege, I am organising a grand tournament in Ulster. We will start with a wrestling. It should be quite the spectacle. While the focus will be on honing our skills, there will be decent prizes for the victors. So it's going to be held in Downpatrick. Travel time is about 17 days. I'm going to deal with what tours and tournaments in medieval Ireland would have looked like in a later episode. But the main sporting event would have been the Éanach. And the most famous would be the Éanach Talton, the Talton Games, which Cuchulainn and others competed in according to legend. There are legends that the Talton Games precede the Olympics and that Greek visitors to the island witnessed these events and took the idea home to Greece. That's highly likely wishful thinking, but that would be what the Irish would be holding. So when you see grand tournament, you'd be thinking of the Éanach, and I'm going to detail those in a later episode. You wouldn't really have had grand weddings as a result of divorce at will. You wouldn't really have had weddings full stop. And I think the first grand wedding is pretty much Strongbow and Aoife. After the Normans arrived. Grand Tours is an interesting one as well. Kings would have conducted circuits, and of course a very famous one is Brian Brew's Circuit of Ireland, which takes him up to Armagh, where he is declared Imperator Scotorum. But quite often kings would go on circuits to exert their authority over a region, and indeed if one region was holding an Éanach, the neighbouring king might go in and try and light the fire to exert his authority over the region. So there's lots of stuff there that could add some interesting modding abilities. We'll talk about all that later on. For now, do you know what? We'll accept this invitation to the Grand Tournament. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I thought it was just click the button and that's it. But no, apparently we have to actually make out our route. So we're going back in the direction where we met St. Patrick, where we met a duck that we chased, and where Killina told us to avoid a big track of ants. We're basically going back in that exact same direction. We could customize the route and add extra places or take them out. I think we're A-okay, are we? We're A-okay. We will join the Grand Tournament. And here we have a Syrian courtier who has joined us as our travelling companion. He's ill, and we're infirm. What a crew. What a travelling party this is going to make. My Marshal Alil is hosting a grand tournament competition in the vicinity of Ulster. And time has come for us to depart. We shall represent the house of Inail. Or we shall represent the Inail, and make the Gaelic people proud. Hopefully, the rest of Ulster won't be as rotten as Alil, but we should still be wary of what goes down when in the lion's den. I suppose we must. Hell's bells, I was just about to click on something there. Tournament arrival, well look at this. Boys oh boys, this is looking impressive. I have arrived at the site of the tournament here in Ulster. Though not all the revellers have yet arrived, throngs of people wander through the colourful surroundings, all looking forward to the forthcoming displays of skills and prowess. There are few places so excellent to relieve some stress and enjoy myself as a tournament, and I intend to take full advantage. I can't wait for it to start. So there's wrestling and there's a ceremony. We've been overwhelmed by stress. Well, there you go. So here are the competitors in the wrestling, and I think our nephew is actually the favoured competitor at the moment. I don't think any of our troops are taking part, because of course they were all on the raid, which I'm actually returning home. Petty King Finn the Strange has travelled. My god, they're coming from all over. They're even coming from Gdansk to see the wrestling. The prize is going to be revealed at the end of the tournament. It's a loot crate. And we have qualifiers. This is very well done. What do we have then? The ceremony. I presume the ceremony won't show anything until later on. Do you know what? The first thing we'll do is we will go to the temple. The yard around the abbey is deserted. This close to the sunset, I hear a rustle around the leaves and see the silhouette of a strange animal running among the tombstones. The carvings are almost gone and some of them clearly visible in others. I take a step towards them because it's late. Because it'll keep getting later. Because it's never been this late in my life. I wonder if I can find one of my ancestors. So would his ancestors, the Northern Enale, are buried in Armagh. Now we're in Downpatrick. And I think it's going to be a while. It's going to be a couple of years before we find St. Patrick himself here. So you'll find an ancestor in the crypts. Gain 75 renown. Or there's no one here you know, and we would spend 75 prestige, or we would gain a chunk of piety. Do you know what? This is an interesting chance to gain some renown. Let's see if we can find any of our ancestors. Or somebody that we might pretend was once an ancestor of ours. No. So I've started marching our forces back from Scotland. We can't do anything else in the tournament for another 20 days, and if you don't do anything for 3 months, you will automatically end up visiting one of the locales. Could we do an extra bit of shopping while we're wandering around? Do you know what? We could head for Loch Gorman. Those divils. Those Christian divils. We might very well head for Loch Gorman. We're suffering. Oh no, another mental break. Oh no. Well, do you know what? We have converted to insularism, and still the dark thoughts distract us. So I think it's entirely possible, now that we are infirm, that we might turn to the sting of the lash to excise our sins. Wrestling contest begins. A raid around the sand. Shirtless contestants warm up for their bouts as the herald announces the contest's commencement. Some of the competitors rub dirt into themselves, others opt for oils, all looking for a scant advantage in the coming bouts. The wrestling qualifiers have come to an end, and it's clear who will be put forward for the quarterfinals as it stands. The varied pitches and volumes of the crowd's cheers leave no question as to the favourite. A newcomer called Briog, famed in his locality, has arrived, seeking to make a name for himself. May the best win. So we could place a bet on the contest winner. So what is going on here? So are these the actual... These are the rounds. Where's our nephew? Don't tell me he's been knocked out, the poor lad. We'll see if we can bet on this lad, because I mean, if you're coming from France to take part in the tournament, then you've some confidence about yourselves. So yeah, we got a chunk of money from the raids. So I have a bet to place. I don't know if we've actually done anything. So lose 5, gain 7, lose 5, gain 8, lose 5, gain 25? Sure, yeah. Because we were told that he was the favourite. So we'll put a couple of bob on him, so then. So we appearing at the bookie by the tavern's dim light. The Irish have pretty much just St. Patrick has pretty much just brought the writing system to Ireland, and the first thing we're doing is making bookies tallies. That's the first thing. There you go. That's the Irish for you. I have a good feeling about this Briog. We'll go for Briog. Well, these lads haven't even came back with my money yet. That's fantastic. We'll get even more money. The wrestling quarterfinals are over. Briog has reached the semi-finals. An interesting round. So Briog is up against A, the Chancellor. Progress to victory. So, shying from the danger, or perhaps driven by some other motive, Briog has conceded to his opponent. Oh my god, I'm furious. I'm outraged. Damn you to hell. Damn Picts. So we have the wrestling semi-finals for the All-Ireland Continental Belt. So it's been decided. Crihan has pinned Krupp, and he's through to the final. And what's this? So there's Crihan the second of Thomond, and A, Crihan's Chancellor. That's very interesting. I wonder who's going to win this. Oh, boys. Do they have, like, walkout music and everything as well? Okay, the bout between A and his employer, Crihan, has been decided. It was closely fought. But A pinned Crihan. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Boys, oh boys. Professional wrestling. The twists, the turns, the excitement. Lads, it's something. Not this time, Crihan. So A beat Crihan II and won the wrestling. We finally got back with a chunk of money. I shuffle aside to let someone by, but no sooner have I done so than they start talking. Ah, hi, Chieftain Conal Crihan. Fancy seeing you here. I open my mouth to respond, but Coilte is too quick. I don't suppose you've got any favourites. It's over. Someone you think is going to take home the win? Me? I've got a good feeling about Gundaboyd. Wait, is this more wrestling? It has to be Gundaboyd. Obviously, it's going to be Briog. Briog pulled up. Briog, I'll... Not voting for Briog anymore. Tournament _ wrestling contest winner. After many trials and tribulations, A has won. A most entertaining event. A well-deserved win. So we lost a fiver. A gained 150. His liege gained 75 for losing the tournament, and his liege gained another 75 for losing the tournament, and gained 5 quid, and gained wrestler, and he splits the prize money with his liege, who lost. That's, lads, I'd say there's a bit of cheating going on. There's something suspicious going on there. A well-deserved win. Poor old A, I'd say, is coming home with nothing. He's paid an entry fee to not E, and he's had to split the prize with his liege, who lost the final. I'd say he's coming home with nothing, the poor man. So A was an indomitable opponent as they took first place in the wrestling. I look forward to the next tournament. What a great occasion. So Na-E has gained 600 prestige, has lost 30 stress, and we gained Tourney Gore for 5 years, so an increase to our stress loss. Or stress is gained slower. And then we have the actual full, I suppose, the list of the conclusion. So A, who won the wrestling, gained 150 prestige. His Liege gained 75, he gained 15 gold, he paid 7 to Crihin. The poor man, he got nothing. Na'i did very well for himself. And A has become the owner of Prize Ring. A fancy ring of excellent craftsmanship. Awarded for a wrestling contest. So that's really cool. That's something that could be inherited down the line. Prestige, 0.16 per month. And Attraction Opinion, +8. There you go. It would have been better, obviously, if he'd gotten the All-Ireland Continental Belt. But, sure, there you go. Prize ring. Can't complain about that. Oh no, we've been hit by snow in November. It has been snowing for days now. The road ahead appears completely impassable. However, as I look ahead, I see a small group of people approaching us, fast across the snowdrifts. Soon a man stands before me and speaks with a wide grin. You seem to be in quite of predicament. But fear not. For a fair price, we will help you return to your travels. Helping others is its own reward. 0% chance that it's effectively Shay Mac Gillifuelon joins your court. It is a fair price. We will manage on our own. 12%, 62% chance that we're stuck in the snow and that we are delayed by 14 days. It is a fair price. So something else has gone wrong and one of our alliance members has died. This is the worst trip home ever. Fergus, in charge of our food supplies, has sheepishly revealed that our provisions are now all but useless, having frozen. Patches of mould cover the bread. Right, it's just a bit of mould. 50% chance that we become ill. Nature will provide for us. 29% chance that you die. The locals around here must have something. So we would basically go raiding. 50% chance that you gain ill. We did drink the water from the holy well. Let's see how good of a job that will do of inoculating us against mouldy bread. We arrive back home at long last. We can get some proper food. We've been away for 110 days and traversed 7 baronies. We ate some mouldy bread and I don't think we got sick. We're fine. We're infirm and we're baiting ourselves with a whip. But other than that, we're fine. So Leinster has raised its army and it's not actually too far away from where we were. But they had no commander, or we've managed to kill them early. They have been forced back. I don't think we're going to be able to march on Leinster itself. And we will bring... And we gained 80 in taxes. And I think we will... we'll have to move them a bit further north. And we'll stand them down for the first time in a long time. We see another raiding army coming in. Now that raid has taken maybe a little longer than I would have liked. Conal is shoving on in years, approaching 60. His health is holding together, but it is ailing a bit. And we still have one more county to take before we can form the Kingdom of Ireland and keep this together, because if he was to die suddenly, I think it would cause quite a lot of problems. I think our best target is Ennis. These two regions are allied to each other, but they can put together about just under 1,000 troops combined. And if we were to declare war, nobody will accept an invite to be vassalized. And we could subjugate him. We can only attempt one subjugation war per lifetime. It's going to cost 500. I'd rather keep him in place. I would rather keep him in place. I don't actually conquer or anything like that. It's going to cost 500 prestige, which is a bit pricey. But you know what? Like I said, I do want to keep the actual rulers in place. I don't have much of an interest in coming down into Munster. We will declare a very expensive subjugation war. We will raise our forces in Tara. And do you know what we will... Well, if they're going to join them up, we'll march in this direction. So Crihin has indeed joined, and we better just check who we have as our commander. So here is Casarius, who joined us on our visit to Ulster, to that tournament. There he is. And there's us, not doing great. But yeah, sure, do you know what? We'll leave him in as our commander. Rough terrain expert. Wetlands. Okay. I don't think we're fighting in wetlands where we're going. We are indeed. Maybe he is the best man for the job. So we actually named their commander A, who was defeated in that tournament in Ulster. So we've discovered that we have a lot in common with Lanone. We shall become good friends, absolutely. So A, the poor man, is coming in against us again. There's not a huge heap that he can do. And Leinster is offering to send troops for 180 quid. And if his war contribution, if our war contribution is at least 1439, we pay 180 to Crihan. I'm not too sure if I'm reading that right. If High Chieftain Crihan's war contribution is at least 1439 when the war ends, pay 180 to Chieftain Crihan. So is the idea that unless you, if you volunteer your services and you don't do a certain amount of work, then you actually have to pay the money back? I will decline this time, but thank you, Leinster. That's very kind of you. And I didn't spot, but we are being raided, and there's also a hostile army. That's Innes coming in again. Blood on the snow. Oh no! A small child. It came from nowhere, hitting me clean in the temple. I didn't even see the projectile coming, much less try to dodge, and for a moment I stagger, blinded. So Ardgoyle, our son, rises from his hiding spot, another snowball already clutched in his vicious little hands. Execute him! Oh wait, we'd better not execute our child. Stress is high. I think at this point in time, do you know what? Conal is becoming maybe overly focused on his goal, on his dream of securing the future of Insular Christianity. He feels that what he is doing for his children. I'm busy, Ardgoyle. Go bother someone else. So poor old Ennis sends its forces in against us. We have captured Kuken. So Hound Without. This is part of the name Kuken Vohar. The Subjugation War is complete. We will enforce our demands. So be it. Inspired by God and driven by a desire to spread the insular faith, a number of rapid victories has brought High Chieftain Conal Crihan to the point where he can proclaim himself to be Ordree Naharan. The Éireann court doesn't make any sense. Strangely enough, I don't think I've dealt with this before, in ye olden times, there was no word for Irish. The Irish had no word for Irish. The language was Gaeilge, but they simply referred to themselves as Gaels. So you see that in the Cogga Gael Regalov, the war of the Irish with the foreigner. And there was this concept of the Gael, but they had no real way of saying the Irish court, for example. And I think it's only of recent that a word was developed for this. Generally, you would say the court of Ireland. So, Uncourt Naharan is what you would say in this case. You wouldn't say the court that is Irish, you would say the court of Ireland. But if you actually wanted to say the Irish court, we only developed a word for this recently, Éireannach. So the Éireannach court, but that doesn't make any sense because, again, it should be Uncourt Éireannach, the Irish court. So I think just call it the Irish court. Just don't try with this era in English. It makes no sense. As king, you have new duties and responsibilities. You will now be expected to regularly hold court. solving the disputes of the realm and letting your courtiers take part in your daily routines. Fergus is looking sternly at me in a direct, almost lecturing way. Perhaps there is also some surprise in his eyes? Fergus didn't expect that he was going to be High King of Eru at some stage. Okay. He starts to unfold a beautiful banner bearing the emblem of House Enail. One of the ways in which the world will now judge your rule is by how you adorn and care for your royal court. I have taken the liberty to have this made as a gift to mark the beginnings of your royal tenure, the Consecrating dynasty banner and the Enail house banner. Let them see their new king. We will enter the royal court, or other matters call my attention. Do you know what? Let them see their new king. So here is our court. And we have a heap of people around the place. Do we want to hold court right now? I'm not too sure. We'll put up the artifacts. That's the first thing we'll do. This is the Consecrating dynasty banner. 10 monthly prestige for... Which one's better? We'll stick this one up behind the back of us. And this then is the Enail house banner. Do you know what? We might swap those around at some stage. So there is our court. Bit empty in terms of artifacts. We'd better go on some raids and get some together at some stage. This also allows us to appoint a much larger court. And one of the positions that we can appoint as a result of our culture is the court poet, or at least it's going to have increased benefits as a result of our culture. Women could become poets. Poet was a hereditary position in Ireland. Women could only become poets if their father had no son to inherit the position. So, in general, women couldn't become poets unless they had no brothers. But here we have, effectively, Dervla, a name that will become Dervla at some stage. So we will appoint them, because they're the only person that we have with the poet trait. We will appoint them as our court poet. Here is our list of prisoners that we've just taken in that last battle. Now, I have no idea who we desecrated the face of. I thought it was this man here. Look who it is. It's A. We've taken him prisoner. There's his prize ring that he just got from the wrestling. Look at this for prowess. So let's see if we can negotiate his release, recruit, and demand conversion. He will accept. And we also have Kuken, Voher, Mock Ragnall. Look at this for prowess. Look at this for a martial skill. He is a righteous villain. He is a member of House Ragnall. And let's see if we can recruit him. He will indeed join. So I think here is another. There's a 14. There's a 10, which isn't the worst, but I have a couple of 10s being pushed out of the army. There's a 12. A 12 with no great stats. A 10 with some solid stewardship. And he's a member of House Gillifuelon. He's a separate Gillifuelon to the Gillifuelon that joined us. Do you know what? I think we're going to recruit most of this. I think we're going to recruit most of this this court. And for the other two, I think I'm just going to demand their conversions. Now here's our military screen, and we now have the option to create accolades. So I think it's only fitting, now that we have become the High King of Ireland, to create an accolade for our son Fergus. So select your new accolades acclaimed knight. The knight's skill and traits determine which accolade attributes are available. So let's see what this does. So, Champion of the Serpent. Oh no, serpents that St. Patrick's getting rid of. And we have Huntsmaster or Disciplinarian. And there is a track on it. Well, he's serving as Chancellor. I think he's also our Master of the Hunt. So do you know what? We might as well make him the Huntsmaster. And then we have set the accolade attribute as the primary accolade. There's Fanatic and Stalwart. I'm just gonna say create accolade. Bestowing this honorific will increase the acclaimed knight's opinion of you. So there we go. There he is. He's the champion of the serpent, and we can apparently manage the champion of the serpent. Level 1. Primary accolade is Huntsmaster. Secondary accolade attribute is Disciplinarian. And he is an acclaimed champion of... Oh no, he is the acclaimed champion Fergus Mac Conal Crehan. So this is your way basically of creating the Red Branch Knights, or maybe King Arthur's Round Table, of creating a group of knights. Ridere is what they would have been in Ireland, that you can grant titles to. So I didn't know that was really I think I'd heard something about this option. We had one of... I didn't spot that we had one of one positions open. So there you go. That's the round table. Very small round table. Once again, we begin to see Alil's strength grow. It's entirely possible that he's no longer suffering from that bent sword penalty. And no doubt he will try and strike against us at some stage. I can't imagine that he is too happy that we have basically built the Kingdom of Ireland on his back. I'm not too sure what we're going to do. We need to get some money together, the way that we can create some titles. At the moment, with the way things are looking, on our death, I think we're going to see the split of the... So the High Chiefdom of Connacht is going to go to Ardgoyle. I would like to try and give that back to What's-His-Face, but I do want to take Ulster off of him first of all. So to do any of that, and of course I want to create Munster and give that out, we will start trying to encourage these people to join us, but I do want to actually create the title of Munster and give it to somebody down here. Probably the Onacht Rahland, the Onacht Cashel would make sense. So we'll try and give it to the Onacht Cashel. If they join, we might even try and get Leinster to join. Will you have the good sense to accept vassalization? No. A lot of it has to do with the fact that he's of a different faith. I believe he's Chalcedonian, he is indeed. So we're going to have to... One of the first things we'll have to do anyway is let our own army recuperate. But we are on the verge of a civil war, and the kingdom is less than a day old at the moment. In the past few days, our nephew has been visiting the court on his way to some holy site or something. I don't know, I wasn't listening. And he's been handing out money left, right and centre. We could try and outdo him in generosity, but we would gain stress because we're content. We could take advantage of him. Do you know what? I don't want to take advantage of him. We could kick him out, gain some prestige. Do you know what? I'm just going to say better him spending than us, so we'll get some court grandeur. Uh-oh, things are going from bad to worse. So we were infirm. Our existence is torture. We have become melancholic. What have we done wrong? I thought we had served God in every way we could. Now, here is an interesting position to be in. Here is our brother-in-law, the new Count of Coburg, and he refuses to negotiate an alliance with us. His faith differs from you, minus 140. So that is that alliance gone. And I think we're actually completely without alliances at the moment, other than to Ulla. And we actually have, oh yeah, well, we've a truce with Ennis, but our son's father-in-law in Scotland died. So we're kind of in a bit of a weak position at the moment. And our Archbishop Conmol has finished. He got a bit of promotion for himself. He has finished the task of converting the faith in Oriel. So if we look at Insularism and look at the holy sites, there we go. We can see that Armagh, it's not controlled by Insularism, so the area itself is now insular. It's not controlled by Insularism, however, because of course that is under the control of Alil. But the insular religion is beginning to spread. It has taken hold in a new area. I have no idea what, if anything, that missionary that we sent out a while ago achieved. I'd love to see if like somewhere over here just randomly became insular. So we might have to send out another mission again at some stage. But now that Armagh has converted to insularism, we could have done this even beforehand. We didn't need to wait, but I wanted to. Let's see if we can afford to go on a pilgrimage. It's pricey. It's pricey. It's actually too pricey, I believe. Will we be able to plan a pious pilgrimage to Armagh? It's 82 is what it's telling us. Do we need a mountaineer to get through Armagh? Higher mountaineer will make it, will decrease it there. So yeah, up into the mountains of Dundelgan. So we're not actually going for Armagh. We're going for Dundelgan by the looks of it. I think we will start our pilgrimage. So we have the chance to... you're particularly firm in your beliefs and looking for opportunities to share your convictions with others. Absolutely. And we will confirm our pilgrimage to Armagh. So we have a fresh start. I can't wait. We've unlocked a martial lifestyle perk. I think we're taking the scenic route. Let us enjoy God's creation for a while longer. So it's going to take us a bit longer, I think, to reach where we're going. Delayed by 3 months. But the pilgrimage becomes even more pious. And we gain accepting for 5 years. And we lose a chunk of stress. So it's taken us a while, but we've finally made it to Armagh, the great Abbey of Oriel. As the abbot offers me blessings, I reflect on everything that had to happen for God to bring me here, such as that 3-month delay where we did nothing. We are a pilgrim again for the second time in our life. I have walked the holy path. As I enter the sacred grounds, I find Conmol staring at the altar with an absent expression. Conmol, I called him, my lord, he says unfazed. I have something to ask from you. I hope you can forgive me. This place has moved my soul and agitated my spirit in a way I thought inconceivable. So he's been here for a while. Maybe he's sick of the place. God has spoken to me, and his voice is clear, severe, precise. It keeps going and going and going. God is like that, all right, yeah. The only sound I can hear now, the whole world has gone quiet. If I could stay behind, I would like to devote my life to it. So the pilgrimage becomes even more pious. Could it possibly become more pious than it is at the moment? So Conmol will leave and become a monk. Don't we have abbeys back home? Mom, can I have an abbey? No, there are abbeys back home. The abbey's back home. So he would become celibate. Drop that nonsense immediately. Because of our... Not our insularism. Because of our... We might have to close this window or move it. Not polygamous. Oh, we don't have monastic as part of the culture. I'm thinking of the later game. So here's monasticism. But there's also a monastic cultural trait that Irish has in, I think in the base game for the 866 or the 867 and 1066 start. Courtiers can take the vows and become a monk. Sure. Grand out. Off you go. So we'll end up with a new bishop. We can stop trying to sway him now. We'll see who our new bishop is. Scandal. Oh, boys. Oh, look at this. Fantastic. During the pilgrimage to Oriel, I can't help but return to the local market, pursuing the wares. One stand in particular catches my attention. The merchant grins at me and proclaims, "I have the wares if my lord has the coin." These exotic goods presented would surely make a nice profit back home, or maybe I could even save them as a gift. This seems like a wise investment, so we pay 15 and gain exotic wares. Worldly possessions, how mundane. Can this pilgrimage become any more pious? We've just given up our archbishop. So, do you know what we'll try and make a couple of bob. God knows we need it. Oh, we're back to the markets. The Guide of the Pilgrim. Learn the safest routes. Discover the marvels of Oriel. One of them yells, waving a small book in my direction. I'll take one. Let me take a look. Ah. And if you take this turn, so our learning would have to be high enough to basically memorize the book. God shall guide me. God is my GPS. As our time at the sacred site draws to an end, I feel reassured that while I may not have been the most pious, I was fairly pious. Don't you be. I was fairly pious. This being my second pilgrimage, well, I can't help but compare it to my previous visit to Arran in all its holiness. I am also thrilled by the notion of having visited a new holy site, and they gave us Saint Kieran's vertebrae. Piety, plus 0.1 per month. I hope he wasn't still using it. But if he was, fair play to him for giving it up. The reputed remains of a Christian saint acquired by King Consecrating of Eru while undertaking his pilgrimage to, and revered as a token of luck and piety by Insularus. Oriel, it has been an honour. So we've a fairly hefty log. We gain 300 piety, 10 trait experience in the pilgrim trait. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know there was such a thing. So the more pilgrimages you go on, the more skilled of a pilgrim you become. Every 9 pilgrimages get your 10th pilgrimage free. And the activity log. Boys, oh boys, that was a busy pilgrimage. Set out from Tara. Then we got stuck for 3 months. Yeah, we set out on the 21st of December. We were hoping to spend Christmas there. And instead we showed up in April. Ourselves and Fergus, our nephew, son of Conal Gulbin, whose brother was killed in our first battle, bonded over our shared spiritual journey. We sent Conmol off when he got a phone call from God. Bonded over our shared spirituality with Lennon, our good friend. We organised a religious procession. We engaged in silent contemplation, so Fergus gained some piety, or Fergus engaged in silent contemplation, while we bought some exotic wares. We bonded again with Lennon, spent time in solitary prayer. We spent time in solitary prayer, more bonding, and we got St. Kieran's vertebrae. Well, there you go. Boys, oh boys, what? What? A pilgrimage. My journey has been a long one, but I have finally come home again. While much remains the same, something has changed in how the priors and abbots treat me. I have undergone the journey of a holy man, and they insist it has changed something about me, whether I can see it myself or not. Just like the last time it changed something about me, whether I could see it or not. It is good to be home. And here are those exotic wares, having carried my exotic wares all the ways from Oriel. I now need to decide what to do with them. Sell them, sell them, sell them. The coin speaks to me. So we'll double our profits, or you would get an opportunity to use the wares to increase the scheme power of a personal scheme. Money. Right, well, it says on the box, St. Kieran's vertebrae. And the image on the box is St. Kieran's vertebrae. When we took it out and put it on display, however, I don't think it was St. Kieran's vertebrae. So we've put that relic on display in the court, which gives us a chunk of extra piety. We're getting a lot of piety. With enough time, we could hit Paragon of Virtue, but there it is now with the kids standing behind it, clapping away, there is Saint Kieran's vertebrae, which we received on our pilgrimage to Armagh after we converted the region. Our first great mission, after we converted the region, we were gifted this holy relic, which we have now put on display in the throne room of the Kingdom of Ireland. We have 3 years to go before the death of St. Patrick, and he has lived to see the creation of an Irish kingdom and the first spreading of Insular Christianity. However, the outpost, the world's only outpost of Insular Christianity, it is in a bit of danger. We have strong internal enemies, and we are now lacking in any type of an alliance to protect ourselves. And we're also lacking the money with which to create some titles. I would like to create the kingdom of, or the chiefdom of Ulster. Are we actually in a position to offer vassalage to this lad? He won't join, base reluctance, and we're of a different faith. So, do you know what we could very well do with trying to sway him? Our nephew, who came to our court and spent a ton of money there a while ago. So we'll start trying to sway him. I don't think that's going to exactly help bring him on board and get him to accept vassalization, but it might. And you know what? If it did, he would be the chief of Ulster. But like I said, we need to get these 2 counties off of Evonia, and it might be either through a rebellion or possibly if he was to die before us. But the most important thing for the next episode is that we need to get money together with which to create some titles. How are we going to do that? Who knows? Thank you for joining me on this episode, and I hope you will join me on the next one with your spears and your helmets and a good pair of shoes, because it's likely that we're going raiding Scotland and the coast of England again.